Hey there, YouTube land. Big Dave here on the fishing channel, and I really appreciate some of you who have been writing in and sending me messages and stuff like that. Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to make this different than some of the other stuff that's out there. It's not really the kind of channel where I'm going to be running to, the field and photographing myself fishing and stuff. But there might be a little bit of that. But today we're talking about ultralights, and I want to talk to you about some of my favorite ultralights, the ones that have lasted in at least 10 years. So the first one is I just repaired this yesterday. This is a 600U Cardinal, Garcia. And as far as I know, they don't make this anymore. You'd have to get it at a show or... I did search just before to see if I could come up with one, and it looks like you can get parts and some parts, and you can get these used around. But this is a cool reel. The drag is in the front here. You can just operate it with your thumb, even while you're almost like a camera. The old cameras used to focus, so you can adjust the drag very easily while you're doing it, and the drag is very smooth. The other thing is the spool on these. If you can get an extra spool, it's a little hard for me to do on this one because it's not locked. But okay, so I can't do it on this one right this second. But the spool pops; it comes right off. Okay. And what happens is, I'm going to see, I got it. Here it is. It just has a bayonet and it pops off the front. So if you do have the extra spool, you can just put this back on and change your line if you want a different line or, whatever it is. In order to change the spool, you have to tighten up the drag. And then you can make your adjustment and take the spool off. The one thing that happened to this reel is there's a guide inside that the spool spindle moves up and down on. And the thing is, the guide is, it's white metal or whatever. And after a number of years, it's broken off. So the reel still works perfectly fine. I just had it apart yesterday, as a matter of fact, to see what I could come up with. But inside the fork that it rides in and out of, it's broken off. It's been broken off for a long time. But I found that by disconnecting this center spindle, taking the whole thing out, and turning it around, that there's a closer measurement on the other side. So the gear that has a tooth on it that goes around as this goes in and out, the actuator that's on there. If you turn it around, the tolerance is tighter, so you can still operate the reel. Now what happens is, if it doesn't have the spindle in that it stays on, this becomes a little bit sloppier because it's not really locking on the spindle anymore on that fork. It's locking the gear. The gear is pushing against the other gear. So it's not the ideal situation, but I put some extra grease in and turned it around. And I also buffed out the facing of the spool because it had a lot of corrosion on it. Some of the water I fish in is brackish, so it really takes a beating. However, this reel is a great reel, and if I find another one that I feel like picking up on eBay or something, I would definitely get another one of these around. So, but I wanted to show you that. And, it is manageable, but you got to take it apart and clean it and put, grease and stuff and oil up all the bearings. It has 5 bearings, and they need to be oiled. That's all there is to it. My other one, this one I had rebuilt about 1.5 years ago at Penn. This is called a 420, I think. I just want to be sure. Yeah, it's a 420 SSG. It's a graphite body reel. It has all nice heavy-duty components in it, and it holds a fair amount of line for an ultralight. Let me just see if I can get the reading on here. Yeah, it'll hold 130 yards of 6-pound test. But I have braid on here right now, which is the same as that, really. This is 20-pound braid, and it's the same thickness as like 6-pound test, whatever. So it'll hold quite a bit of this. However, this is not all filled with braid. I have it like half filled with mono, and the braid is on top. And if you just want to use 4-pound line, it'll hold 165 yards, which is a lot, I usually put some tape underneath it, like blue tape, and then I put the line on because I'm not going to use all that line, and so I don't need that. But anyway, this is a great reel, and but it had really taken a beating, and the whole side was broken off and all this other stuff. So I sent it back to Penn, and I paid about $45 for them to rebuild the whole thing. They put all new gears in it. They set it all up, and it's really terrific reel, and it's just holds up, and it'll handle a bigger fish too, if you get bigger fish on here. And then my other one, which is I think another one that I use all the time, and in fact the other day, the back of the spool, I had trouble with the drag, and something wrong with the drag in here after so many years. This is really beat up. And so I replaced it with the carbon fiber reel, the spool that I had sitting spare in the drawer. So it has a brand new spool on it now. I don't care. It's even a little bit lighter, so it's great. And has new washers and everything in it. This has never been used, this spool. So this is like 10 years old, this reel too. This is a Cardinal 100U, and it has, I think it has 6 bearings. Not sure. It used to say it on there. I'm just looking to see. Yeah, it's underneath this, so I can't really tell you because it's underneath this. But it has a good amount of bearings, and I've caught a lot of fish on this reel, the Garcia Cardinal 100U. And like I said, the first thing in I don't know how many years, finally, the spool just started malfunctioning. The drag isn't working right, and this piece broke off underneath the clicker. So I just took out the carbon fiber spool, put a brand new one on. And the roller here, which is really important, you want to make sure that your roller works on your guide. If you have to take your reel apart, clean it, soak it in some, warm soapy water, and then put it back together and oil it. Same thing here, like this one. I find these Abu Garcia reels, as long as you oil these up and they run good. This one's running good. It's a little bit sticky, so I might take this apart and later and put some fresh oil in it. But other than that, it's running great. So anyway, so those are some ultralights, and you can buy cheap ultralights too. The problem with them is they're not really worth it because they're cheap, and then they last maybe one season, and then they don't work. So if you buy a decent one, you can get, like I just showed you, these are like some of these are 10 years old at least. I don't know how old this one is. This is maybe from 2004. I think they started making it in 2002. And this is like from 2004 maybe. So it's 14 years old. And I just put it back in service, even though it has a broken fork inside. So, all right. And I'm going to be making another video soon today or tomorrow on popper plopping. It's a technique I'm using right now, catching some really good bass on it. And so stay tuned. I'm going to try to do a video in the field to show you the technique, but it's kind of cool, and I have not seen anybody putting videos up about it. So I'm going to show you what that's all about in the next day or so. But it's really going to be super hot here, so I'm not sure if I'm going to venture out. Maybe not till a couple days from now. We'll see. All right. Have a good day. I want to keep it under 10 minutes. And thank you, those of you who've been writing. I really appreciate it. Okay, bye-bye.